Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Idaho Business Podcast. We are lucky enough to be joined by Jenniffer Landon. She's the president at Journey Financial Services in Idaho Falls. This gal, she grew up in Firth, Idaho, in the potato fields of Firth. Yeah, that's better than when I was at. I'm in the Idaho, and then excuse me if I could talk today, Aberdeen area. I'm way out in the middle of nowhere. But she graduated from there, went into the big metropolis of Hammond, Idaho, and she came into Idaho State University, got her degree there, and she has been in the financial advising business for over 20 years now. Is that correct, Jenniffer?
That is correct. Yeah, we're celebrating 20 years. That
is amazing. Well, that is fantastic. But before we get all into the nitty gritty, I've got to say, the podcast is sponsored by Lookout Credit Union. These guys are a phenomenal bunch of people to deal with. They treat their customers with just pride and respect, and they're there to lead and guide them through the hard times in life as well. If you go into one of their branches anywhere from Burley all the way to Idaho Falls, and you go in and open a new account with them, and mention that you heard about them on the podcast, they'll give you a free swag bag to go along with your new account. So especially now coming into the summer months, it's going to be there to have fun. You got your t-shirts, you got your soda, your beer koozies, everything in there you want to enjoy the summer with. So Lookout Credit Union. All right, Jenniffer, back to you. You've been in this industry for over 20 years. What made you decide this is the industry for me?
I love telling this story, so I am really glad you asked. I don't know that I was the typical person who was supposed to make it 20 years in this industry, I'll tell you. I remember going through a career fair at ISU, trying to see what my next chapter was going to look like. And I didn't really see anything. So after the career fair was over, I circled back around after everybody had left. I ended up talking to some people from a not-for-profit fraternal agency, actually, and got very excited about the type of charities that they supported and the type of endeavors that they used, I guess, with their profits. And I worked for them for 7 years, got a really good base understanding of the industry, and then went on my own, kind of started completely over, actually, looking around, trying to decide how I wanted to build my business. Had the education, of course, but I didn't have a lot to build around. And so I knew what I wanted to build. I wanted to build a business that was very set on doing client-centric planning. I didn't want any board of directors or any, big shot company telling me what was best for my clients. Mm-hmm. And it might have been a harder path, perhaps, than just joining an existing team with a big name on the door. But we wanted to pave our own path and do it our own way.
I like that. That's so now, with that freedom, you're able to really tell your clients exactly, what's going to be best for them, not just best for the franchise or whatever thing like that.
Yeah. And of course, I know that there are a lot of good people in this industry that work in a lot of different types of offices. And I'm not trying to discredit that by any means. Sure. But for me, it was important to have that independence to be able to truly work in the best interest of my clients without any conflicts of interest. So if somebody would have came to me and said, this is the only way, you have to put big brokerage firm name on your door, I don't think I would have stayed. I would have tried to find a different path, perhaps.
Sure. So what's one of your favorite parts about the business? That's probably one of them, but what's one of your favorite parts?
Again, this is an easy question for me. I enjoy very much helping people with complex decision making. So, there's all of these people who've done everything right. They've saved money their whole entire life. They get to the point where they're trying to put together a good retirement plan and it feels overwhelming. And now I have to make decisions about Social Security and Medicare, and when do I start, and how much money can I draw? Do I have enough money to retire? And if I do draw money out of my accounts, how much can I afford to draw? And
Hmm.
how do I invest? And all of these decisions are big decisions in and of themselves, and put them all together. And the most intelligent people can feel overwhelmed. And I
Sure.
really like helping people deconstruct the big decisions. And that's one example. Other examples are, I really enjoy helping people who are going through big life changes. You can feel overwhelmed. You feel like the world is on your shoulders. Maybe you've lost a spouse, or you've had life just throw you a curveball or two. I really like taking the complexity of finances off of their shoulders. There's
Hmm.
enough things out there that they need to worry about in their own realm. And I really enjoy being helpful to someone in a significant way, in something that maybe they don't have a lot of reps on, that we can
Hmm.
kind of just step in and help them make good decisions without a lot of chaos.
I like that. Do you feel like business owners, you know, are they harder to deal with, or easier to deal with because they've been so used to being in the driver's seat for so long? Now they're like, oh, this is a little new to me, or just I don't know everything I need to know about this subject. How is that handling for you?
I think when it comes to finance, I think business owners, I think we're very similar in a sense that we're all very busy. And
Hmm.
sometimes we put our own interests and our own well-being aside for the well-being of our business and our enterprise. So I think that that's the challenge with business owners, is making them realize that they need to make themselves a priority. And
Hmm.
instead of always investing all of their time, energy, talents, and enthusiasm into their business, taking a minute and saying, you know what, you personally, separate from your business, what is it that you really want? What does that look like? What does that future look like? And how can we help? So I think it's not necessarily more complicated than just making somebody realize that you need to take some time out and prepare for your own future also.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like to reverse engineer stuff. So I have to think about it that way. I'm like, okay, what's the goal in mind? And then how exactly do I get to that goal? And I think that's exactly what you're there for these people, to do that, to reverse engineer and help them understand. So let's take this situation here, like because we've had some advisors on the show before, and we've talked about, preparing to and good ideas to start doing even when you're growing your business and you don't feel like you have enough cash to give up to do any kind of investing. Let's move it a step forward now to those that are maybe a little more established in their businesses. They've got some income to do some other things with. What would be your main, maybe 3 or 5 point step, or whatever you think, to help them manage their wealth? What's that look like?
First of all, like you said, you have to have clarity on what we're trying to accomplish, right?
Hmm.
But then let's break it down into basic, simple things. I'll tell you, we love having conversations about investment efficiency. I think that we're very good about deconstructing a portfolio and taking the plow off the racehorse, if you will. I
Hmm.
think that's kind of uh, something that we excel at here. But with that being said, I don't know that it's as much about the tool that you use to build the house as it is about the plans, right?
Sure.
So I think the biggest thing that we have to do is recognize that we are all creatures of habit, and the biggest thing we need to do is create good financial habits. Now, as you
Hmm.
grow and you mature in your business, and as a business owner, those goals and those targets that you're trying to hit need to mature also. So if
Hmm.
you've already set up a savings plan, great. Let's push the envelope, because any business owner knows if you've got money behind you, then you have options. You have
Hmm.
opportunities that you might not have seen otherwise. So, automate as much as you possibly can so you don't have to constantly think about it. And
Sure.
then set up a review schedule every 3-4 months, reevaluate where you're at, and see if you need to move the marker. Make a contract with yourself. Hey, this is how much I want to have set aside this year in investment accounts. Right now, I know a lot of people are doing well. This is a good point in time to really, what's the right word, plan for, stockpile,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, for maybe markets and in economic conditions that aren't so favorable, when
Sure.
money's a little bit harder to come by and loaning is a little bit tighter. So right now is a really good time to reevaluate your saving strategies and put together the business nest egg. So
I
push the
like that.
envelope a little bit.
No, that's great advice. That is great advice. I know in my life, I have a business coach and a mentor. I meet with a couple times a year, and I know as business owners we can be very vague at times with like, oh, this is what I want to accomplish. This is my goal. I want to have boats. I want to have all this fun stuff. But then we're not very good at like, okay, well, what exactly is that going to take money wise to make that stuff happen? And that was me literally a few maybe 5 years ago, and I had some vague goals in mind. And I'm like, okay, well, that's good, but my coach kind of helped me understand, well, what does that look like monthly in
Yeah.
revenue, in income into your pocket for you to accomplish those goals and to have that life that you want. And I'm sure you do the same thing. These people going into retirement, like I'm sure they have this vision in their mind of them sitting eating grapes by the beach, and doing all this fun stuff. But do they actually have in mind the monetary amount that it's going to take? Do you see that a lot, or is it?
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
that. But I actually, in my own mind, kind of divide it a little differently.
Okay.
And I think that there's two different types of people, if you will. And I think most business owners kind of fall into the same category. And what I mean
Mhm.
by that, I think that your average retiree, the person who has worked very hard for a company and has built up their 401k to a very large sum, they tend to be a different type of category than most of your business owners.
Mhm.
So, those people who build up what I'd call a reservoir, I call them lake people. They want to make sure that the lake is big enough to be able to withstand the withdrawals, right, for the rest of their life.
Sure.
Make sure you have to monitor the rate of return and the withdrawal percentages and the market conditions and all of these things, and that's all smart. That's what we do, right? But
Mhm.
I feel like most business owners think about money differently. And what I mean by that is they're more about the river. They don't care about the lake. They don't care about the reservoir.
Mhm.
I'm much more about the cash flow. So how do I create multiple streams of income so
Mhm.
that I can retire, differently? So, it's really interesting, especially if you've got a married couple, one of them's reservoir, one of them's lake, or excuse me, one of them's reservoir and one of them's a
Sure.
river,
River.
because the lake person's like, but we don't have any money. And the river person's like, what are you talking about? We don't have any money. We've got all this money coming in every single month. How can you feel like we don't have any money? But I think that most business owners, I feel like we tend to look at planning for retirement differently. So, in regards to your question about the boats and things like that, yeah, I want everybody to be able to have those types of things. But we need to make sure that the plan that's either providing the river or the plan, that's going to provide the reservoir, either one needs to be pretty solid. So how
Mhm.
are we going to create that income so that you can continue to live that lifestyle without ever feeling stressed in the future? I personally, in my own planning, I like to think that I'm more of a river person, but honestly have to force myself to also build a reservoir as well.
Yeah.
So, I've got both. I like to play on both sides of that equation, but
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think I've ever come up to a lifestyle type of goal, like you said, a boat or something like that. I don't have a boat. I don't have the 4 wheelers. I don't have any of that kind of stuff right now. But if there's something I really want, I usually will find a way to make that happen.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like we're not very good at either or situations. I want and I want this and I want that. And
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with that as long
No,
as we
no,
can
there's not.
substantiate the cash flow to provide for those things. And like I said, that plan better be super solid. And that's where we come in. Let's consider, what it is that we need to do in order to solidify that plan so you're not stressed, not today, but also in 5, 6, 7 years when the conditions may change.
Sure. No, I really love that analogy between the river and the lake, and I'm kind of like you too. I'm feed my river's feeding a lake, but I'm also interested in that river continue to flow as well. So that was a good analogy. I really like that. So thank you for that.
Well, river people are
Um,
harder, because they look at money different. And so, if we're used to talking to lake people, because 80% of the people we talk to are kind of lake people. And, we're showing them good rates of return and maybe fantastic, right? Like maybe we showed them an 18% rate of return. And then you
yeah,
talk to a river person about that and they're like, so what? When are you going to start making me money? Right? Like, what else you got? I mean, they're
yeah,
just different. So,
yeah. They've got.
business people think about money differently. I get it.
It's true. It's true. They've got that passive income coming from rentals and everything else they've got going on. So I like it. So, well, in this, I got one more question before we get in the lightning round here. But in this economy right now, things are good. But at the same time, we've got some key markers that inflation could be really, it's hit us. And depending on what report you read, it's hit us worse or better. Um, but I know a lot of people, think that the cash is trash. But if you have a lot of cash sitting in just your normal savings account, not doing anything, it's losing money right now. In my opinion, and what a better time to be putting it into other accounts, i.e. retirement and other holdings that are actually going to be gaining interest instead of being suffered by the 0.001% in bank accounts right now, and getting the inflation on top of that. So what's your opinion on? I know everyone needs to have maybe some emergency fund on some cash, but at the same time, do you believe at this point cash is kind of trash, or what's your opinion?
Well, you know what? I don't think that there's any investment vehicle out there that doesn't have a purpose and a plan. So when we're dealing with people, there's three things everybody in the whole world wants, right? If you and I were going to sit here and we were going to build out the
Mm-hmm.
perfect investment, you know what
Mm-hmm.
that perfect investment would have? It would have really good growth. It would have perfect safety, and
Mm-hmm.
it would have access. The problem is, and okay, let's throw in one more for the business owners, right? I want good tax treatment,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the first three, that's the trifecta. You know what? Investment has all three? Nothing. There's no
Yeah.
such thing out there that's going to give you all three. You can pick your favorite two and you can find that, but you'll never go to three. So do I hate cash? No, cash has a purpose. But
Mm-hmm.
cash's purpose is for accessibility and for, being there for that rainy day. But having excessive cash can be harmful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to build up an emergency fund, like you say, or everybody has this level that I just feel like I need to have in order to feel good, right? Whatever that level
Mm-hmm.
is, anything above that, that's unnecessary to keep in cash. If you
Yeah.
want to talk about like macro trends for a minute, on a national scale, we as a country right now are just swimming in cash. So
Mm-hmm.
there is perhaps we're near all-time highs on the amount of cash that's on the sideline in corporate accounts, in personal accounts, in money market accounts. And that is actually a very good sign for the market, because nobody is going to hold on to cash as a long-term play. Now,
Sure.
let's also acknowledge why people have cash right now. And a lot of people are cash heavy. It's because they're scared. We're coming out of COVID and it's shaking the cage a little. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that again. That really freaked me out, right? So everybody starts stockpiling cash. That's normal in a recession.
Sure.
So now we have almost record high levels of cash on the sidelines as a country. And that cash is going to deploy. It's going to deploy one of several ways, right? It's either going to move
Yeah.
into businesses, it's either going to move into buying goods and services. It's either going to move into the market, it's going to move into real estate, but at some point it's going to move. So I'm not saying that there aren't things out there that we're not concerned about. But
Sure.
if one of the things you're concerned about is inflation, the reason why we have inflation is because we're in a super hot economy. So
Sure.
one of the best ways to hedge against inflation would be to have money put to work. Now, to answer your question more directly, I guess it depends on what kind of money and how soon you need the money. And there's other things to
Yeah.
consider. You can't just, hey, you know what, this is everything I've got. Go ahead and drop that into a stock portfolio.
Yeah.
So there's things to consider.
No, I agree. And I definitely agree that, yeah, you definitely need to have that rainy day fund. But yeah, there's definitely things. I like what you just said. There's no perfect plan. There's no perfect scenario, but you just you do what's best for you and what you're comfortable with, I guess.
Well, or you ask different parts of your plan to behave differently.
Sure.
So cash has a purpose. It's there for a reason. I want cash. I want my bank account nice and healthy too. I get it.
Sure.
But at the same point in time, I also want growth.
Hmm.
And there's other things in my portfolio that are also important to me. So I segment it. This money over here, this is your job. This money here, your job is to grow. This money
Hmm.
over here, your job is to be, long term. This is, they all are
Okay.
supposed to behave a little differently.
I like that. I like that. And I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of this because, we've talked a lot about getting people to actually invest, but now this is good that they're hearing, and it's good, for everyone to hear that there's different avenues to manage your wealth. So thank you, Jenniffer.
Yeah.
Let's enter into the lightning round real quick. The lightning round is sponsored by Sensations. They have locations in Pocatello and Twin Falls. They are one of those spas with the massages, the tanning beds, the spray tans, the mani-pedis, everything you need to look your best for the summer. And here soon, if you go in and ask for, tell them that you heard about them on the podcast, they will soon have a good little deal for you. But for now, give them a call at either one of their locations, and they will treat you right. Okay, Jenniffer, in lightning round here, what's maybe one of the best books or tools or software that you've used maybe recently that has just kind of been a game changer for you?
I'm not going to go with something recent. I'm going to go with an old time classic. We'll go with The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a mindset book.
Okay. That's actually in my library right now, so in my queue.
Yes, classic.
Good. I like that. Okay, what is one of the biggest myths business owners need to know the truth about?
Let's see. Investing, I would say investing comes in lots of different ways, shapes, and forms. Sometimes it's investing in human capital. Sometimes it's investing in yourself. Sometimes it's investing in time off. That's what I would say.
Okay, I like it. And then what was one question I should have asked, and what would be your answer to that?
Oh, that's broad.
But we keep you. That's why I call it the lightning round. It's just I hit you.
I know, right? Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I think that we're all creatures of habit. The best way to be financially successful is to create good habits. We can get super sharp on the tool set, don't get me wrong, but it's really more about good financial habits than anything else.
I like that. And to make reference to the comment earlier, you saying make things automatic. I read the book The Automatic Millionaire, and that was a really good one for me because as business owners, like you said, we have our hands in so many different pots that we're trying to manage everything. And for me, I know if it's not on my Google Calendar, I'll forget everything. So I have to set things up automatically, or it doesn't happen. So I really like that. That's a good nugget of advice for sure too. So
honestly, we like doing other stuff better. You like running your business. And so why don't we take the stuff that we don't enjoy so much and employ someone else? You know what?
That's right.
Help me. Put me on an automatic schedule. That's how we handle all of our stuff. Hey, this is my review schedule. This is when I'm going to see you next. I don't even have to think about it again. Here's the plan.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, that was what I'm getting to next. If people are listening and they're thinking, "Wow, this Jenniffer knows her stuff. She seems like she'd be great to deal with my wealth and my money." What would be the best way to get a hold of you?
They're always welcome to visit our webpage. Okay. It's journeyretirement.com. Of course, they can give us a phone call also. It's just a little harder to remember how to do that, right? But our telephone number is 208-552-9169. But the webpage is easy, nice and simple, journeyretirement.com, and it has all of the contact information there that you can reach out to us, and it's a simple way to get a hold of us.
Perfect. Well, I really do appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to join us for a little episode here. So thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And to those listening, go out there today. It's Friday for us today, but you're going to be listening to this in the middle of the week. So go out there today, enjoy your day, stay away from the negative people, conquer your week, and just have a great week. So until next time, keep listening and keep enjoying. Thank you.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.